I wonder, have you ever had the displeasure of having had to use one of these? A plunger. Now, this isn't a toilet plunger, this is a plunger for a sink, but you may have had to use a toilet plunger before to unclog a toilet. Now, I have had the misfortune of having to unclog a toilet, and it was my mistake. To my shame, I clogged up this toilet. I was in another country, in another person's home, and I felt so ashamed that I'd made this toilet clogged up to the point where I couldn't unclog it. It was so frustrating, and I was so ashamed. I just couldn't, no matter what I tried, unclog this toilet. And I didn't have a plunger of some kind around. There wasn't a toilet plunger. There wasn't even a small sink plunger to use on this toilet. In the end, I must admit, I'm not going to get into the gory details here, but I did have to use some kind of crutch that was just left in the local area, and we finally managed to get the toilet unclogged. And it felt so satisfying when we finally unclogged this toilet. There was a lot of stuff in there that we needed to get rid of, and as try as I might, I couldn't get rid of it before. I needed the right tool to unclog this toilet. When we're unclogging our toilets at home, we need the right tool, a plunger, a toilet plunger, to unclog our toilets. But I want to ask you a question today. What do you do when your life is clogged up? Have you ever had a blockage in your life that you just couldn't unblock? What have you tried to use in your life to unblock that blockage in your life? Because the Bible teaches that each and every one of us have a blockage in our life. And that, the Bible says, is sin. Sins are the things that we all do wrong in God's eyes, when we break His holy laws, when we don't live up to His holy standards for living. And each and every one of us have done that, my friend. We have thought things that we shouldn't think. We've said things we shouldn't say. We've done things we shouldn't do with our hands. We've all done wrong in God's eyes. And because of that, we've blocked up our lives with darkness, with rubbish, with sin. And it doesn't always stink quite as bad as a clogged up toilet, but sometimes it does stink. Sometimes it's almost as if it was leaving a stench on our lives that we can't get rid of, no matter what we do. But the Bible teaches that God doesn't want us to live with that stench. He doesn't want to live with those blockages in our lives. He wants us to be free. He wants us to experience the elation, the excitement, the joy that I experienced in some respects when I managed to unclog that toilet. I was so relieved. I was so happy. I felt like a burden had been lifted off me. I didn't want to have to tell this person whose home we were in that I'd clogged up their toilet. But God says actually that when our lives are unclogged by Him, actually there's feelings of peace, love, joy and hope that the world cannot match. Sounds good, doesn't it? But we have all tried to unclog our lives ourselves, but nothing works. Nothing works. In my life, I tried to unclog the blockages in my life caused by sin, but nothing was working. Nothing would work in the long run. Maybe it would work for a moment, but it didn't work forever. And so God has said that actually there's something that we need to use, that we need to access in order to be free, in order for our lives to be unclogged. And that's not anything we can find in this world, but it comes from above. And His name is Jesus. He loves you, He loves me. He came down to earth on a rescue mission for us, to save us from the blockages that sin has caused in our lives. Because you see, the blockage of sin leads to death eternally. The Bible says the wages, the payment for sin, our mistakes, the bad things that we choose to do in our lives, leads to death eternal. But God doesn't want that for us. He wants us to experience life, abundant life here, and life with Him eternally. But the only way that that is possible is through having the right tool to come and unclog the blockage of sin in our lives. And that is Jesus. Jesus came to earth on that rescue mission. He went willingly to the cross to take your place, to take my place. He died on that cross, taking upon Himself all the bad things that we'd ever done and ever will do, and destroyed their power forever when He died and rose again 3 days later. Because death couldn't hold Him down, because He is the Son of God. He destroyed the power that sin has over us, and now encourages us, come to me, allow me to change you from the inside out, allow me to free you. Turn to me and you will experience all fullness of life, abundant life, his love, his joy, his hope and his peace. And he offers that to us today. So I want to implore you, come to Jesus. Allow him to unclog the blockage caused by sin in your life and experience freedom today. Will you choose to step into friendship with Jesus today and experience his love? Jesus is calling.